Hello, my name is John White. I now live in a small town in Mexico. Today I'm going to explain how to play the games called the Maya Cosmic Number Puzzles. They are found on Google Play. You need to type in the full name to bring them up on your computer. At the present time, September 2013, we only have them available for the Android system of smartphones and tablets. Later we will have them available for the regular PC computers and then for the Apple systems. These puzzles were originally found inside a Maya pyramid in the late 1940s of the last century. They were lost to the world for over 1,400 years. The original puzzles were inscribed in solid gold plates. Today we can show you two of those. Someday in the future, we hope to show them all to the world. Today, I want to show you how to play the games. There are more than one type of game. Today, we will be showing you the 7x7 version. That is this version. Be warned, even the 7x7s may be hard to complete. There are more videos posted on YouTube for the other versions of the game. There are 5x5s, 9x9s, and 10x10 versions available now. Today, we're going to try to solve this puzzle here. It is composed of 7 columns and 7 rows. To start to solve the puzzle, it is best to try to solve for the places where there are the least amount of blanks in a row or a column. This column only has 2 blanks. This column has 3, which would make it more difficult. This column has 2. You could start there. This column has 3. And this column has 3. This column has 4, and this column has 4, which would be very hard to solve at this point in the game. Today we will be showing you how to play with the numbers that you are most familiar with in school. The numbers used in the 7x7 versions vary. The numbers in this puzzle are from 3 to 9. In other versions of the puzzle, the 7x7 version, you have numbers between 0 and 6. Then you have versions that have 1 to 7, 2 to 8, 3 to 9, as in this example. So, we will solve this puzzle today. The rules on how to play the game will be posted at the end of the video. We have them available in 40 different languages on Google Play, the Android version. First, I will start by finding the row or column with the least amount of blanks in it. For this example, this column here has only 2 blanks. This column has 3 blanks, which would make it more difficult. This column over here has 5 blanks, so it makes it very difficult to solve. If you look at the rows, this row has 4 blanks, making it difficult. This row has 3, this row has 2, and this row has 2. You could start with these 2 rows, making it easier for you to solve. Today we'll we'll start with this row and see how well we get along. If we pick the numbers on the right side, a 9, a 3, a 7, an 8, and a 5, we see that we are missing both a 4 and a 6. We see if we check that this column has a 6 in it already. So we cannot use the 6 there. We will have to use the 4. If the 4 is in this position, then the 6 has to be in this position here. Then the numbers on the left side compose a 6, a 3, a 5, a 9, and a 4. Therefore, we are missing both a 7 and an 8. When we check, we see that we do not have anything that helps us within a 7 or 8 in any of these columns. So we will mark that it has a 7 or an 8 that will go here. We will mark it that a 7 and an 8 go here. Now we can check around to see if we see a 74 or an 84 somewhere on this puzzle. Or if we see a 76 or an 86 somewhere on this puzzle. So by doing the check, do we see an 80, a 74 or an 84? We do not. Do we see a 76 or an 86? And we do not. So we will leave these two numbers here for the present time and continue on solving the rest of the puzzle. This puzzle is not necessarily an easy one. We will go down and solve for this row. We start out with the right numbers being an 8, a 5, a 6, a 9, and a 4. That leaves us with both a 3 and a 7 that can go in those spots. We see that we have a 7 here, so the 7 cannot go there. So then the 3 must go here. If the 3 goes here, then the 7 must go here. Solving for the left side, we have an 8, a 6, a 3, a 5, and a 4. That means that we are missing both a 7 and a 9. When we check our columns, we see that we have a 9, so the 9 cannot go here. That means the 9 must go here. And if the 9 goes here, then the 7 must go here. That way we have both a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, the 7, and the 8 to complete that row. Now, we look around on the puzzle and we see that this column has only 2 spots. So we're going to go there to solve for that portion of the puzzle next. We have a 6, a 4, a 9, an 8, and a 7. That means that we are both missing a 3 and a 5. when we look around on the puzzle to check to see which position the 3 or the 5 go into, we see we do not have a 3 or a 5 in this row, and we do not have a 3 or a 5 in this row on the right side of the position. So we will put in both a 3 and a 5 here, and a 3 and a 5 here, to make it easy for us to come back and solve the puzzle. On the left side, we see that we have a 5, a 3, a 6, an 8, and a 7. So we are missing both a 4 and a 9. When we check for a 4 or 9, we see that we do not have it in this position, and the 4 or 9 are not in this position. So that leaves us with only being able to put in a 4 or a 9 here, a 4 or a 9 here. Then we look around to see what else we can solve for. We see that this column here has 2 spots that are vacant, so we try to solve for that next. We have a 4, a 3, a 9, a 7, and a 6. We are missing both a 5 and an 8. If we look in this row, we do not have a 5 or an 8. And if we look in this row, we do not have a 5 or an 8. So we must put our notations here of what numbers that we may have. On the left side, we have a 6, a 9, an 8, a 5, and a 3. Therefore, we are missing a 7 and a 4. When we look here, we do not see on the left side a 7 or a 4. We do see a 7 here. So, if the 7 goes there, here, it cannot go here, so that leaves us with only a 4 that can go here. If the 4 goes here, then the 7 must go here. We check around on the puzzle to see if we have a 75, 75, or 78 anywhere on the puzzle. And at the present time, we do not have that. Then we check to see if we have a 45 or a 48 on the puzzle. And at the present time, we do have a 45. So if there is a 45 here, according to the rules of the puzzle, there cannot be another 45 on the puzzle. So that means it has to be a 48. If this is a 48, then that means that this can only be a 75. Then we check to see what other positions that we can come up with to solve the puzzle. By solving for the 75, we now have in this row only 2 spots that are blank. So it is best to go there next. On the right side, we have a 4, a 5, a 6, a 3, and a 7. So we are missing both a 8 and a 9. So if we check we have a 9 in this column, so that means that only the 8 could go here. And if the 8 goes there, then only a 9 can go here. Solving for the left side, we have a 3, a 7, a 9, an 8, and a 6. So that means we're missing a 5 and a 4. If we look here, we do not see a 5 in this column. If we look here, we do not see a 5 or a 4 in this column. So we have to put a 5 or a 4 down for notations that those numbers are the possibilities. We can look around on the puzzle and see if we have a 58 or a 48. And we do not. We can look around and see if we have a 59 or a 49. And we have a 59. If we have a 59 here, that means that we cannot have a 59 here, we have to have a 49 in this position. So we put our 4 here. And if we have our 4 here, we cannot have a 4 here, so we can only have the 5. So this becomes 58. Then, by solving and finding the 58, we see that in this column, we have now only 2 spots that are available. So that is where we will go next to solve the puzzle. We have in the right side a 7, a 9, an 8, a 3, a 5. So we are missing both a 6 and we are missing a 4. A 6 and a 4. So if we check in this row, we see that we have a 4 here. So that means the 4 cannot go there, only the 6. If the 6 goes here, that means the 4 has to go in this position here. On the left side of this column, we have an 8, 7, a 5, a 3, a 6. So we are missing a 4 and a 9. When we check this row, we do not see a 4 or a 9. When we check this row, we do not see a 4 or a 9. So we must put a 4 or a 9 here, a 4 or a 9 here. Now, when we check the puzzle for the other numbers, do we see a 46 or a 96 in any of the positions of the puzzle? Well, when we look at this column here, we find a 96. So if the 96 is here, that means that there cannot be a 96 in this position, it must be a 46. If it's a 46 here, the 4 cannot be here, only the 9 in this position. portion of this square here. We see that we have a 4 here, so we cannot have a 4 in this position. We can only have the 9. If we have the 9 here, we cannot have the 9 in this position. We can only have the 4. Now we can look around and see if we have a 93 or a 95 in the puzzle. We do have the 93 in this position here in this column. So if the 93 is here, we cannot have the 93 here. So it must be a 95. If this is a 95 and the 5 is in this position, we cannot have the 5 here. So we must have a 3 in this position. When we look around on the puzzle to see which we can solve for next, we see that this row has only 2 blanks. So we will solve for that portion next. We see that we have a 5, a 6, a 9, a 7, and a 4. So we are missing a 3 and an 8. When we check around on the puzzle in this column, we see that we have an 8 here. So we cannot have the 8. So there must be only the 3 that goes in that position there. If the 3 goes here, then the 8 must go here. When we solve for the left side, we see we have a 9, a 4, an 8, a 3, a 5. So we are missing both a 6 and a 7. When we look in this column here, we see that we do not have a 6 or a 7. When we look in this column, we see that we have a 6 here. So that means the 7 would have to go in this position here. And that means if the 7 goes there, then a 6 can only go in this position. So now, if the 7 is here, then the 7 cannot be in this position. So, only the 8 can be in that position. If the 8 is here, then we cannot have an 8 here, we must have a 7. Now, when we look around on the puzzle, the easiest place to solve for would be this column, which only has 1 blank. We have the 8, 7, 3, 6, 4, 9. So we are missing a 5. On the left side, we have a 3, 4, 6, 9, 7, 5. So we are missing an 8. Now, when we look around on the board, we see that this row only has 2 spots that are blank. So we're going to solve for there next. We have a 7 on the right side, the 4, an 8, a 5, and a 6. So we are missing both a 9 and a 3. So when we check for this column, we see that we have a 3. So the 9 must go here, and the 3 must go here. Then when we solve for the left side of the squares, we see that we have a 7, a 9, a 4, an 8, a 6. So we are missing both a 3 and a 5. We check the columns. We see that we have a 5 here. So there cannot be a 5 here. This must be the 3. And if that is a 3, then this position here must have the 5. When we check, we see that we have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that checks the puzzle. Now, in this column, we are missing 2 spots. This column only 2 spots, and this column only 2 spots. So we could solve either of these positions. It would be the same. So we'll start over here, and we see that we have a 7, a 9, an 8, a 3, and a 6. So we are missing both a 5 and a 4. When we check these rows, we see that we have a 4 already in this position. So the 5 must go here, and the 4 must go here. When we go to the left side, we have the 3, a 4, a 9, a 7, and a 6. So we are missing both a 5 and an 8. When we check our rows, we see that we have the 8 here. So that means that we must have the 5 in this position. If the 5 goes here, then the 8 must go here. Next, we will solve for this column. On the right side, we have the 4, the 3, 5, 7, and 9. So we are missing both a 6 and an 8. When we check, we have the 8 here in this row. So the only number that can go here would be a 6. If the 6 goes here, then the 8 must go here. On the left side of this column, we see that we have a 5, an 8, a 4, a 9, and a 3. So we are missing both a 7 and a 6. When we check, we see that we have a 7 here, so we cannot have a 7 in this position. So we would have to, 7 would go here, and the 6 would go here. Then for the last 2 spots that are blank, we solve for the right side, an 8, a 7, a 6, a 4, and a 3. And we see that we are missing both a 5 and a 9. When we check our rows, we see that we have a 5 in this position. So that means the only place the 9 can go would be here. If the 9 goes here, then the 5 must go here. Solving for the left side, we see that we have a 7, a 6, an 8, a 4, and a 5. So we are missing both a 9 and a 3. When we look here, we see that we have the 9 in this position, in this row. So the 9 must go in this position here. That leaves only the 3 in this position. When we check our numbers from each row and column, we see that they add up to the correct amount of numbers. On the Android system, you have a help screen that shows you the solution page, and you can go there to check your solutions easily. To check the solutions, you can see that you have numbers in each column and row that go from 3 to 9. In this column, you have a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can do the same in all of the columns, and then when you check rows, you see that you have both a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, 8, and 9 in your rows. And on each side, you can do the same thing, and that is the completion of the puzzle. We hope that you will go to Google Play and find the puzzles under the Maya Cosmic Number Puzzle page. When you go there, you will find many puzzles for sale, and we have one puzzle book that is for free. So you can go there, pick that one, and enjoy it. And afterwards, we hope that you will go and purchase other books. In this part of the puzzle, we see where the difficulty level is at. Each one of these images, this is the Maya Spirit Zipacnu, represents the difficulty. We'll either have 1, 2, 3, or sometimes even 4 for the difficulty levels. This one was a fairly difficult level number 1. At this place, we have the time, which you can write down if you have a regular book, or if you have the Android system, it will record the time for you. We're also going to start to include the date so that you can keep a record of when you finish the books. Down here we have a serial number of each puzzle. This puzzle we are going to include on September the 4th as a free puzzle that we will send you so that you can